Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, September the 11th. And today, before I open my show and start my interview with my very special guest, I want to take the time to remember those that we've lost in 9/11. Today, give me a minute, Fashion Dolls, as I'm pulling this up, please forgive me for my tardiness. Today marks 24 years since the day that changed America forever. And I would just like to take a moment to remember those who we've lost and whose lives have been impacted, who've lost family members in 9/11. I can remember that I was in New York. My father took me and my brother and my mom and my aunt and her husband to New York. And when we got back, that's when we heard about it. So my heart's goes to those that we've lost through 9/11. And I would just like to take the time to open my show off by starting that. All right, Fashion Dolls? So, are y'all ready to get into today's show? My very special guest today is a voiceover actor, model, and he is an author. And I'm super excited to have him here back in the dollhouse. Again, please forgive me for my tardiness. Your girl had to be fashionably late. As you can see why, this is an homage to Jean Paul Gaultier. And I will post the pictures at the end of the show. I'm literally struggling to sit down in this dress right now because it's like cut up in layers. You know, like how it's shredded up like a band-aid. It is beautiful, but I will post at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, Lawrence Serdivey, back to the dollhouse. What is going on today, Instagram? Shout outs to my brother K Tukes. Make sure y'all go and check out K Tukes, the K Tukes spot. Definitely go and check it out. We have a couple of collaborations coming out, and I'm super excited for that. I can't wait. Again, Style by Stevie is returning for my 20th season in the new year of 2026. So a whole new look, a whole new everything. And I'm super excited. We're already working on getting guests, and we have some amazing guests that will be coming into the new year here into the dollhouse. But I know you guys are wondering why didn't she post the OOTD? I didn't have time, y'all. I've been like on a crunch. We had so much going on. So let me try to invite my guest again up here, my very special guest, Lawrence, so that we can get into this amazing conversation. Hello. Hello.
We made it. We made it.
Welcome back to the dollhouse. Again, please forgive me. Your girl had to be fashionably late. If you guys see the dress that I'm wearing today, you'll be like, okay, we understand why. So, happy 2025. The last interview we did, our very first interview that we did was back in the year of 2024. So, so much has happened since then, but how has 2025 been for you thus far?
2025 has been transformative, amazing, everything that I didn't think it would be, and everything that I needed it to be.
Yes. And you've got a couple of projects that you've working on out currently right now, which we'll get into. Now, the last time you were here, you were talking about your book, The Divorcee, and we were talking about, coming out of a marriage, being in a relationship, so many different things we were discussing in our first conversation. So much has happened since then. You've got your let me pull up my notes here. Oh my God. Give me a sec, Fashion Dolls. Let me pull it all up. You have so much that you're working on, and I'm looking at my notes right now. And you've got your podcast, which we'll get into, and you have some more literature coming out, which we'll get into as well too. Um, yes, The Divorcee, a memoir of love and reflection, which will be coming, which is in this year, 2025, the fourth quarter. Um, you have your podcast as well, Discipline and Desire, which I've listened to, and you give thought provoking insights on life, on love, on sensuality, on all of these different things, and masculinity as well, too, which we'll be talking about in this conversation today. But you've got a film which wrapped a successful festival circuit, film circuit overall figure. So tell us a little bit about overall figure. What was it like?
Yeah, so overall figure, we first attempted to go through the theater circuits. We're actually going to be linking with the Roxy Theater tomorrow, my team, Two Piece Productions. We were able to go through the Tribeca Film Festival this year, a few other independent film festivals. The networking was amazing. Got to connect with many different directors, actors, producers. Got a lot of feedback and a lot of intel that we didn't know much about. This industry is pretty unique in trying to get your work out there, and I highly do recommend folks go to the film festivals just for the networking alone. We just finally got our final funding for our three projects. So we had a meeting today with Bitmax. We're going to be releasing all of our three films on all streaming channels, all the major ones, including Tubi. And then tomorrow we're also going to be working on our fourth project that's coming up. We have a table read, did already half of our casting, and yeah, we're making moves. It's fun.
My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. You've got a lot going on. Balance. How do you find the balance within time? Because I've watched some of the conversations of discipline and desire. And what keeps you sane? Because we're going to get into masculinity. I'm holding off of that conversation a little bit later. But balance. With everything that's going on, how have you been maintaining? How have you been keeping focused? Because I know it's a lot. It's overwhelming for a lot of us.
I love that question. When I think of balance, I don't think of your typical linear line. I accept that some days if I'm here, then my balance may be here, and then vice versa. So I try to have the mindset of if I don't plan it, it won't happen. So each day I plan that I have to take care of myself first. So that includes
Yes.
working out. One of the first things I do, which is probably the hardest thing that I have to do for myself, is exercise. And then once I get that out of the way, my mindset is now set to okay, what do we plan the day prior? What is our priority? And then sometimes my energy is like, we don't want to do that in that order, but we're still going to get this done. We want to go for a walk, or it's nice outside. We want to go hug a tree. Whatever the case may be, I listen to my rhythm and I listen to the cadence that God has given me. And with that, I'm able to juggle, I'm able to spin plates, as I say it, and life flows for me. And sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing a lot until other folks bring it to my attention, and I'm like, yeah, I am kind of busy, but I prefer it that way too.
And I have the same conversations with my mom. I'd be like, Mom, you're doing too much because she tends, and I think I picked up some of her traits. We always inherit something from our parents. And I
Sure.
think one thing that I've learned from my mom was being able to do different things. You're doing too many different things at one time. You got to make sure that you're balancing it all out or you'll overwhelm yourself. And there are days where she's overwhelmed herself and I've had to step in, and it's literally three people in the house, and I've had to be the main one to kind of step in and guide her. I've had to be secretary, hairstylist. I've had to be fashion consultant. I've had to be all of these things to her, nurse, doctor, because as your parents get older, you got to make sure that they have everything that they need, that they're straight, that they're good to go. So for
Agreed.
me, it's been an all-time high. My brother K Tooks, I see you, K Tooks, has been witness and privy to that because I've had conversations on the back end about making sure that my mom is straight health wise and how she's
Mm.
doing. So she's recovering, she's doing well. So thank y'all for your prayers. But it's gonna be a journey for her. So I told her, it's all about making sure that you need something, you let me know. You don't have to bend for anything because I know your back is not in the best condition. Let me know and I will get it for you. Cleaning up, but she's gotten into gardening, which is very therapeutic. And I believe
Hey,
that everybody should have an escape. We touched on mental health the first time in our very first interview when you were
we
here.
did.
We touched on mental health. And that ties into masculinity as well, too. And I'm pretty sure you've seen the shift where Black men are starting to open up more and be vulnerable. Whereas before, it's not looked at as so bad. What do
Mm.
you think about the shift of Black men being open and vulnerable, saying, hey, this is me, this is who I am. This is my light. Take it or leave it. Whereas for women, it's easier to us because we're emotional creatures. We come from a place of, how can I say it, of gentleness, of already knowing how to nurture, already know how to have compassion, already know how to care. Because, that motherly, that maternal instinct is, and I don't have kids. I have a 5-year-old toy poodle. I don't know if that counts. So I have a fur baby, but that maternal instinct kicks in where you're very protective over everything. And we notice the shift because we're picking up our parents' traits. It's instantly inherited down to us, that cycle. But some of the cycles can be good, some of them can be bad. And one of them is toxic masculinity, which I want to dive into a little bit later. But when men speak up about mental health, it's often looked at as, oh, man up. You need to man up. You need to be strong. You need to be firm. Don't cry. Don't shed a tear. And we touched on that in the first conversation. What do you think about the shift of men saying it's okay to not be okay as far as it pertains to mental health?
I'm extremely proud of where we've come as a group of humans. I'm happy that we're here. We still have much work to do, but you got to start somewhere.
Yes.
And I feel that with humans, all of us, regardless of our gender, we are mirrors of each other. And within each human, you have a feminine side, you have a masculine side. It's the yin and yang. And if you're only focusing on one side, which we have been for so many years when it came to men. That's why so many men were, having the highest rates of suicide. That's why so many men were going
Oh,
through
yeah.
what they were going through because that shadow side or that other side, that feeling side, they weren't able to tap in. And I love that we're finally getting to that place. And that's one of the reasons why I pivoted with my memoir and pushed it out a little bit more because as I was buttoning it up, I was realizing like I need to start addressing more things to the men because we're finally here. We can finally have those conversations, and we need more groups to where we can come together, be vulnerable, be honest, and actually be able to talk about what we're going through and not run from it. Because that's the problem. Like if you run from your fears, if you run from your issues, you'll never address them. It's like sweeping something under a rug, and eventually you have this mountain of issues. And then once you flip or you snap, people then see you at that state, and they're like, "How could you?" Meanwhile, we're sitting in that, hey, we've been sweeping things under the rug for years, and eventually everyone will crack if they don't have a release. So I'm hoping to be that vessel, and I'm hoping more men will step up and be that vessel for others so that we can actually be there for each other and we can all go through this healing collectively. Because if we're not healing, then that affects our children, that affects our partners. Like the whole world constantly goes through that vicious cycle, and everyone needs to be seen and needs to be tended to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many outlets where men are speaking up. Of course, the barber shop is one. You go into your sanctuary. For women, for us, it's the hair salon. Or for men and women, it's the spa. Everyone has an outlet, and they're using that outlet to go and vent. It's great to be around people who are like minded. Now, I would only recommend group therapy if you're interested in being around a lot of people. But if you're not, there's also confidential therapy where it's just you and the therapist. So
Mm.
whatever works for you. My thing is make sure that you're getting the help that you need. And in our community, the Black Collective, for so long we have held on to that trauma and it has went down to the next generation, to the kids. It's time to unpack it. It's time to release it, especially with the shift in the atmosphere of the current world that we're living in right now. For a
Absolutely.
lot of us, I think it is time for us to unpack and learn each other. Sit down and have a conversation with people you've never talked to before.
Hmm.
It is okay. And my guest just yesterday, Justin, said the same thing. Justin works in comedy. He's a comedian. So we had so much fun in that interview yesterday, but we were talking about just sitting down because he grew up an army brat. And when you grow up an army brat, you're exposed to all sorts of cultures, all sorts of people. Now it's like we're divided, but more than ever, sit down and take the time to learn your neighbor. Talk to your neighbor. What can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? Do you need me to get anything for you? With the way that everything is going right now, we have to look out for each other because we have. And I think that that's key and crucial for a lot of us. A lot of people want to know, what can I do in the state of the world right now? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling depressed. Yes. And you know what? That makes you human because we all have those emotions. I just had a conversation with my mom about this, and she said, I sense depression because she noticed that I've been sleeping a lot lately. And I'm just like, no, no, it's no sadness, mommy. It's no sadness. Yeah, she said, I sense it. Yeah, I'm sad at what's going on in the world, but I don't sleep because of depression. I sleep because I'm tired, you know. And because I do so much, I'm always on the go. Like I just told Lawrence a few minutes ago, we had the guy coming over here to spray. My dad's working on electric stuff. So it was a lot going on. And I didn't think I was going to be ready for my appointment, but I reassured that I'll be ready at 4:02. And first thing we came on, we were on time on the dot. So it just goes to show you that when you're juggling so many things, it can overwhelm you, as Lawrence just said. And it's like we're having to carry, imagine going through TSA with all of this big, heavy luggage.
Mm.
And the luggage is so heavy, you can't carry all of it. You're going to have somebody to assist you, to help you, help your neighbor in these times. When you see someone struggling or need just a helping hand, reach out to them, talk to them, ask them how their day going. And a smile can be the best way to have a conversation with someone. You never know what a person could be going through in this climate mentally, what they're experiencing, but just that smile is the best way to get a conversation or a compliment. I know I get a lot of compliments on my nails when I go out because they're so long. And my guest this week, shout outs to Nia Renee. She said, "Oh my God, I love your nails." So I've been getting a lot of compliments on that. But that's what you do. You compliment people, make them feel good. I like your shoes. Oh my God, I like your blouse. I like your pants. I like all of these things. Make
Yeah.
them feel good. And this time, in this day and age, it's time for us to make each other feel good and find the joy in the midst of the chaos, because we're headed for some dark times ahead. And I've been continuing to be that light bulb, that vessel, that sunshine in these times. You have to find the sunshine in your life. Don't let those dark days, for anybody who feels like they're in a time of despair, in a time of feeling emptiness, in a time of feeling sorrow, don't know what to do, don't know which way to turn or where to go or who to call on. If you are a spiritual person, I say turn to God, talk to Him, talk to the believer, talk to the universe, talk to whatever you believe in. Just make sure that you keep your head lifted, because you can find yourself in a deep funk so bad. But what is so beautiful as a black woman for me, seeing black men be open and vulnerable, because growing up with black men, especially in my family, they were taught, don't cry, suck it up, be a man. And some of them went into the army and the military, and that structure, that core structure of what they learned from the military has followed them. And
Yeah.
we hear stories about people getting PTSD. That's not the case with the men in my family. They just learned structure, discipline, everything has to be neat and in order. My brother's an example. My brother is a neat freak, and he will wipe up the water around the sink. You can't leave no soap around the sink. You can't leave nothing. He will even, I'm not exaggerating, y'all, he will straighten up the garbage inside the garbage can. That's how straight he is. He is neat. It's OCD, and I think it's rubbed
True.
off on me.
Yeah.
I think my mom's rubbed off on the both of us, because you pick up your parents' trait, and we pick. I see myself washing dishes. I'm like, I'm turning into my mother, Father God, because my mother's always cleaning. Not that I didn't like to clean. I've always been a clean person, but my brother too. We've always liked to have everything organized and in order where we can get to it. So again, those habits that we've been learned, those are good habits, but the habits of holding on to trauma, we have to learn to unpack it and talk to someone. Talk to
Yeah.
someone. Again, we as Black people, we have been programmed 400 years of oppression, all of these things that we are feeling, all of these emotions, they are valid. And for Black men, and I want to say something to my sisters, to Black women, because I've been seeing Black women, some Black women put down our brothers out here about seeking therapy. Oh, you too zesty. You need to stop being emotional. Like,
Mm.
if he wasn't, as you would say, quote unquote, emotional or zesty, that's where the toxic masculinity part, we're going to talk about that, comes in.
Absolutely.
Then he'd be beating me upside my
Yeah.
head.
That
And I
part.
would rather a man be able to cry on my shoulder, knowing that he can confide in me in that emotional sacred space, rather than having someone punch me, use me as their punching bag.
Yeah.
Because that's not love.
Yeah.
That's unhealed trauma. That's he's got some mommy
You
issues.
gotta get
Not
something
all
out.
men,
Yeah.
but some. All of those things. And he's taking it out because of his hatred of women. And you're pouring that gasoline on the fire. You're making it even worse. So Don't gaslight their experiences. That is one thing. When someone is suffering, don't gaslight them. Don't gaslight their experience. Be open and listen to black men and vice versa. But this is for the brothers. I had to defend the black men out here because I know that we're seeing black men be vulnerable. And there are some women who just look down on that. Like, no, there's toxic masculinity and there's toxic femininity. So yes, I'm holding other women accountable as well too, because we have to be opening. If they can be open to us and listen to us and our problems, and we got issues with other women at work, you have to be open and willing to listen to black men as well too. And in order for the black collective to work together, we have to be able to hear each other out. Hence why I added male co-host here on my show back in 2021, 2022. I said, I
Mm,
want to hear both perspectives. And it gelled so well, Lawrence. It
yeah,
gelled so well with my co-host Johnny and EJ and Marco. The audience loved it.
yeah,
And it was because they got the woman perspective, minds, and then they got the male perspective. And together we collectively work together. I
hmm,
remember doing a girl talk, and Damien D, the comedian, he came in my girl talk with my girl Nikki Brown. He crashed it because we were talking about Nelly, and we had a disagreement. And he was saying, I respectfully disagree with you on that. And then I educated him, and he was like, So, see, when you educate, when you talk, when you bring awareness, when you give an explanation and you clarify, you have the hard hitting conversations, you come to an agreement. There was no name calling because we
hmm,
see that in a lot of man versus woman spaces or the red pill spaces, shall I say.
hmm.
We're not listening to each other. We're not listening to each other or getting the message, if that makes sense. So
No, that
sit
makes
down and
total
have the
sense.
conversation.
That
Right.
makes total sense. And that's one of the reasons why I've adopted what I call the obsidian pill. And what that is we have to go inward. Like we've seen it over and over and over again. Everyone's pointing fingers at everyone else for what they're not doing. Men are
Blaming each
pointing
other.
fingers at women for not being women. Women are pointing fingers at men for not being men. And it's like, well, what if we all did our own work? Worked on ourselves because we're all mirrors of each other. So that when we did come in contact with each other, we're going to be more understandable because we understand ourselves. And then if we have an issue with someone, or if we're talking to someone, all of a sudden we have this feeling. If we do that inner work, we realize that it's me. It has nothing to do with the other person. So what is it about me that is making me feel dot 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 when this person says or does something? And then once we do that inner work, everything falls into place because we're honest, we're open, we'll ask questions and curiosity, and then we'll get that understanding that we didn't know. Like, seek understanding before you seek to be understood. And I think the more and more we're being vulnerable, the more and more we're taking these positive steps, and the more and more we're balancing how God has this set up. Like, there has to be a balance. You have to come with your opinion. You also have to come with an open mind to realize that I might be wrong. I may be looking at this from a different perspective. This person may be somewhere else. Let me see their viewpoint and then see how I can triangulate that to have a better full picture of whatever it is that we are seeing together. And the more we do that inner work, I feel like the more and more we'll do that healing. And it's starting now, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Now, toxic masculinity.
Hey,
It is still a thing that plagues our community, the black collective, and we're seeing a lot of black men. The whole conversation with Young Thug, and I'm gonna touch on that briefly. Um, I'm just gonna say this: unpack the trauma that you're feeling, because it's not okay to blame other marginalized groups. You cannot be oppressed. I say it all the time. You
mm-hmm.
cannot be oppressed within your own community when that person is oppressed as well. It doesn't
Yeah,
work that way.
crabs in the barrel.
So we will always be our own. And my girl Nia Renee, who was just on, said it. We are our own worst enemy when it was that. She's like, I don't want to get. I'm like, girl, come on now. Come on, you're telling the truth, because I'm saying that we are our own worst enemy because we're holding each other back. We're looking at sexuality and all of these things. We're judging people based off of that. Get to know their character. That's what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King stood for, was for character. The person's character, what's inside their heart. I look at a person's heart. I don't look at their sexuality. I don't judge them. And that's something that we have been programmed. Religion also takes a play into that because of organized religion. What we've been taught growing up, that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. No sin is greater than the other. You can't judge the next person because we're not perfect. We want to be flawless. The only person who, in my eyes, and my hair is inspired by her, big and voluptuous, Beyonce. That's the only person that I see as flawless. She's flawless. We are perfectly flawed because we make mistakes. She makes mistakes too, but she's human. We're humans. That's what makes us perfectly flawed. I know I said Queen Bee is flawless. Yes, she is an outstanding performer. Outstanding performer. Amazing singer, just talented all around. But I'm talking about us. We all have something that we haven't healed from. And that toxic masculinity, because that cycle, what sometimes what young boys see growing up is what they're going to exhibit in their behaviors as men. And that's where we have to take the collective and say, oh my God, that's something that I need to work on. So we can't be out here blaming the LGBTQIA plus community. We can't be out here putting our hands on women, putting our hands on LGBT people. That's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay, as we talked about mental health earlier. That is something that some Black men have to heal from. So toxic masculinity will always be the poison within the Black collective. And I'm for the women, I'm going to hold my sisters accountable for women, because toxic femininity is a thing out here too. And I'm seeing other women, because I'm a girl's girl. If you know me, I'm a girl's girl. I am always for women empowerment. And that's why I do my girl talks, because I wanted to show that Black women, because we get such a bad rep that we don't get along. It's always cattiness with us. It's very divisive. Oh, she thinks she better than her. No, when you see those panels, what you see is what you get. And 9 times out of 10, it's like picking a name out of a hat, because I shake the groups up. It's different women in different groups.
Nice.
We're not all the same. We have a different point of view, a different perspective. We come from a different walk of life, and we still blend so well. And if you go back, and if only y'all could be a fly on the wall to see what we talk about in the girl talks, because it's so much fun. It's like that chain, how people do chain messaging. Like, we're checking in, we're talking on topics, we're giving each other's flowers on our photos, because women, we love to take a lot of selfies and things. So that's what you get to see behind the scenes with that. But I say that to say this, as far as toxic masculinity, until some Black men unlearn, and until the Black collective unlearns toxic masculinity, what has been taught growing up, it will always be the poison within our community that plagues us all. Because you can't judge somebody based off of their sexuality, based off of all of these things, wealth, status, I don't care. That will always be our downfall. And as Lauren said, that crabs in a bucket mentality of pulling each other down. Now, for the women's side, I've talked about holding our brothers accountable, some of them, as far as toxic masculinity. There are some women out here who exhibit toxic femininity. You're not a girl's girl. You're more male identified. And that same system that is kind of patriarchal, if that makes sense, misogynistic, you exhibit that towards other women. And that is very dangerous, because
Yeah.
you're a woman and you're holding back other women, oppressing, especially Black women. We're the most disrespected human beings on the face of this earth, to quote Malcolm X. We are. And we can't be out here rooting on the next Black woman's downfall. So there have been Black women who I've disagreed with here on my platform, and I'm just like, no, ma'am, that's not it. That is not it. And I've had to call them in. But
I think
Cancel,
so many
sometimes you
people
have to fall.
forget.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, I think so many people like I get caught up on buzzwords, right? Like I think we need to start with what toxic actually is. Any too much of anything becomes toxic. Like if you have too much water and the water is not moving, that water will ultimately become filled with bacteria and it will become toxic. If you drink too much water,
Yes.
you can kill yourself. Like anything that's too much that's not balanced will ultimately become toxic. So when we think about toxic masculinity, when men are only thinking about what a man is supposed to be and they're not spending time on their feminine side, yeah, you're going to be toxic because you're ignoring the other side of you. Same thing with women. If you're so focused on just your feminine side and not thinking towards your masculine side, because every woman has one, like we all have these sides, we ultimately find ourselves in those categories of being toxic. And I think one of the ways that we can really start promoting the healing here is for those folks that have done the work. It's like you either through your God, through your therapy, through whatever avenue you chose, you're able to get to where you were to where you are. Now give back. Now it's time to be able to have these conversations with those folks, either in your family, in your inner circles, in your community, and then start actually talking to them and having that real, honest talk. And that talk may be uncomfortable, but anything that's worth growing, anything that is going through a phase or a transition will be uncomfortable until it's not. And that's where we have to come in. If we know that we've been able to heal certain things, we have to give that back to our communities. We have to give that back to our family members and have those conversations. It's not a matter of pointing blame. We get it. We know why we're here. But what do we need to do from here to move forward so that we stop that cycle? Because the kids are watching us. And if we don't
Yeah.
do it now, then this is going to keep going. And I don't think any of us want that. I think we know how this rerun goes. We know how this show goes enough to be like, all right, I don't want to change the channel. I just want a different episode. And I want that episode to be where our people are more happy. Our people are living in joy. Our people are living with less fear. And I want to go back to something else that you had mentioned. Everyone does have baggage, right? Sometimes a
Yes.
person may feel, oh, I don't have the bandwidth to carry that person's baggage. And that's fair. But that doesn't mean that you still can't help them. A way that a person can help is helping that person perhaps realize, you know what? Those 10 bags that you got right there, do you need those 8? Just helping them identify, like, man, all this time I've been carrying this extra weight, I may not have to carry that. And then the ultimate goal, the ultimate help that we all can do is to either pray or to just literally think of a positive outcome for someone else. The end. Bible says the word became, right? So you think it and then you say it, and now that goes into motion. Now you're thinking more positive steps for those people. And again, why not start with your family? Why not start with your friends? Why not start with your community? And then watch that rhythm, that cadence, get to where it needs to get to, and watch folks continue to heal the way they need to. Because we're all collectively thinking towards that goal. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And open up, talk to somebody before you
Yeah.
persecute them or nail them to the cross. Sit down and have a conversation. And I believe that's what's missing now in this current day and age. Before we look at someone, we make an assumption. And when you
Totally.
assume, you make a fool out of yourself. So sit down and have a conversation with them because you never know what the
Yeah.
story could be. I've reached out to so many guests. That's how I met Lawrence here. That's how I've met so many of my guests just from reaching out and having a conversation. They wouldn't know me from a can of paint or from Adam, and I would reach out to them and have a conversation with them like, hey, I would love for you to come on my show. Like someone just messaged me back and hopefully I can get him on the show. And he says here that I told him I appreciate his work. So hopefully he will come on the show. Just from that alone, meeting new people, that's what it's about. Because I am a new face to some and a familiar face to some because um, they've never, the ones that haven't met me will love me because of my personality, and personality is what draws people in. So
Absolutely.
also be intentional about being intentional. So know what you're doing within this community, in this collective. The Black collective, we need to be together more than ever. We need to be forming community, looking out for your neighbor, because we all we got at this point, and we have to work together. We
Yeah.
have to work together. So that means different people from different walks of life, different styles. You're going to see everything. God didn't want us all to be the same. And I say this saying all the time. I would rather be the blue unicorn in the room than to be a polka dot along with everybody else. So stand out. Stand out. God didn't intend for us all to be a polka dot. He wanted us to be different. He said we're going to add a little bit of this, a little bit of that when we're
Hmm.
making all of these amazing dynamic people. That's what makes us so unique, is the fact that we're different. We're not the same. And my mother, she's even said that, because I have four brothers, two sisters. One of my sisters, may God rest her soul, she's no longer with me. But that's what's so unique about all of my siblings, is that we each have our own personality, our own sense of style. And what I loved about both of my parents, what I loved that my mom did and what my dad did, is my dad taught us discipline. My mom, she's taught us more so how to nurture, how to care. She said, you look out for your brother, you look out for your sister. Y'all look out for each other. Y'all stop that fighting. Because, I mean, of course,
Hmm.
brothers and sisters fight. That's the Black collective. We're all brothers and
Agreed.
sisters, and we're fighting
Agreed.
amongst ourselves. So while they're getting ahead, we're sitting here fighting over the little things, like someone's sexuality, like someone's wealth and status. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're in this together, and we have to look out for each other.
Absolutely.
So look out for your neighbor. If if they don't have anything to eat, what I love and what I miss is how before the pandemic, we could do get-togethers and everything. It would be family cookouts. We would have barbecues, and we go outside. There was a bunch of flies and stuff flying around, the gnats and stuff. If you're in the South, like I am, South Carolina, yes, there will be a tent. Everybody will be outside. The children will be playing in the water slide and stuff, and everybody talking amongst themselves. Family reunions, barbecues. My colleague Bubs the God said that that's what's missing. That old feeling of us being able to commune and be amongst people. That's what's missing.
I
Because
agree.
during the pandemic, it was difficult for a lot of us. A lot of things were closed down. A lot of
Yeah.
things were closed down.
Agreed.
And we had to try to figure out how to navigate, how to strategize, if that makes sense, how we were going to do things, how we're doing things now. Everything was virtually, technology. And I
Yeah.
think that's what keeps us more separated. It's a great way to communicate with each other, but that feeling, that human touch, that human connection is missing. I'm a hugger. If you know me, I'm a hugger. So if you hug me, I'm going to hug you back. If I see you emotional, I'm going to come in, I'm going to give you a hug, or I'm going to pat you on your back. But that's what's missing. That community, that being able to be together as one, as a collective, if that makes sense also. So toxic masculinity. Uh, Talk to someone. Don't keep it bottled up inside, because the end results are not pretty. And your
Agreed.
anger, your temper can get the best of you, fellas. So,
Agreed.
and for my ladies, do not provoke. Do not provoke. Do not provoke. Deal with that unhealed trauma. Don't take it out on the next person, because it's like you're putting more on their load. You don't want them to do that to you. It's not fair to them.
Hmm.
So, again, I want all of us as the Black collective to work on each other, to work on each other, to work amongst ourselves, to build community. That old school community, again, cookouts, while the parents at work or something. Of course, you got your grandparents out there. If they're home, get your neighbor to look out. Be on lookout. So that's what's missing. We have to do these things amongst
Yeah.
ourselves, especially with the next 3 years going into this. Make sure that
Agreed.
you're being in community with people. Surround yourself with like-minded people who are open-minded. And most of all, for us as Black people, as a collective, we need to have an open mind. Because not all of us, we're not a monolith. Black people, we're not a monolith. We don't all think the same. We don't dress the same. That's what's, again, so unique about us, is that we're different. God didn't intend for us all to be the same. He said, I want something different for each individual person.
And our
You are
authenticity
unique.
is
You are
our
dynamic in your
superpower.
own right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I said, and our authenticity is our superpower. It's like you have to be you. There's only going to be one you. There's only going to be one me. So why would I ever try to be something that I'm not? But if we don't love ourselves enough and see ourselves as that unique, authentic individual, then how can we see it in others? I think about, the Bible. It mentions that one of the greatest commandments was to love God with your whole heart, your whole soul, right? And the second commandment was
Yes.
to love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how can you truly love your neighbor accordingly? And that's why, again, it always comes down to our inner work. There's a book that I just finished reading, The Courage to Be Disliked, and it breaks down Adlerian philosophy. And their philosophy is that most problems are interpersonal problems. And one of the problems when people have that inner conflict, they struggle with the idea that community is not out to get them. They feel that everyone is out to get them. And I feel like in the black community, and rightfully so, because of what black folks have experienced, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard for them not to feel like everyone is out to get them. But that is that mind shift that we were just discussing. Like, if folks can start really spending more time as community, calling each other out for our stuff, because that's necessary, but then also moving in that new space of accepting that not everyone is out to get us. I think we really will start seeing our own experiences completely different because we're not going to be looking at everybody with a side eye. We're actually going to be like, this person actually helps me because they want to help me, just like I help them because I want to help them. And then that is that cadence that I think is going to also start getting us where we need to get to. And, just truly seeing each other as community, as neighbors, as brother and sister.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And moving on and going forward, having these hard hitting
Yes.
conversations. And shout outs to my colleague, Conscious TV, for being able to provide safe spaces for us amongst ourselves. Yes, we bicker, we disagree, but at the end of the day, we have to come to some sort of common ground.
Hmm.
We have to.
Where are we gonna build on if we don't, right? Yeah, yeah. And I'm a
I won't
fan
waste
of.
my time doing it. I've tried, but I'm not going to be hypocritical here. It's not going to be an easy task, but I will do my part. I will continue to keep being a light within the Black collective, keep continuing to keep us motivated and grounded and
Hmm.
educating our people more than ever. I believe that is also a way for us, reading, staying informed. If you don't know something, ask somebody. We need
Hmm.
the educators, we need everybody on
Hmm.
board, all hands
Absolutely.
on deck.
Each one
So,
teach one.
absolutely, yes. So, you've done some voiceover work, which we're going to get into to shift gears here, because we
Hey.
talked about the Black Collective and writing and educating, but you've done some voiceover work. So, let's go through it, shall we? Let's see, let's see, let's see. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I just
I've
actually had
lost my
a.
place.
That's one thing I do love about the entertainment industry, any industry, right? If you're a good person and you build your good network, your network is your net worth, right? And I love,
Yes,
so I've been doing this for so long. Don't get me wrong, I just did an audition today. It felt good. It's been a minute since I've actually had to audition for a role. Um, but it felt good actually stepping into a different character. But the voiceover gig that I just did recently, I've been working with this team for probably the last 6, 7 years. The Comedy Lemonade, a group out in New York City. Um, they've used my voice a few other times, and it's like, hey, we have this amazing skit. We would love you to narrate. I'm like, say less. Send me the script. Send me the script. And if you do it, things enough time, talking about how I'm able to spend so many plates. Once you start mastering your plates, time is irrelevant. Like you can spend 10 minutes on something, one take, two takes, and it's great, and they love it. you're happy with it and you just move on to your next. And that's how I've been able to move lately. My God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
Two Piece LLC just wrapped a major season, and you just completed your second project, voiceover. So again, honing in on your craft, honing in on your creativity, which is an outlet also, since we touched on in the realm of mental health, honing
Hmm.
into your craft. 2025 shouldn't be, yeah, it started off bumpy. We didn't expect a lot of things on our bingo card, but keep grounded. Find something that you are excellent at doing. Again, I love vision boards. So almost everything that I've put on my vision board has come to fruition.
I
You know
believe
how
it.
we say, look out, okay, when we're trying to cross the street, look out for that car over there. Look out is one of the words that's also on my vision board. Of course, dream, believe. I told you guys that I've written believe on my vanity mirror. I have to bring it on the show and show y'all one day with my lipstick, and it's still
Hey.
there. I barely can see it, but it's still there with that beat. And I did it as an affirmation to myself every day because first thing when I get up in the morning is I do morning devotions. I have my conversation with God and I
Nice.
do morning affirmations. And one of the affirmations that I always say to myself, your energy when you walk into a room is impeccable. So that means your chi, because one of my guests that I've had on say you got a very strong chi. Your energy is just powerful. Is
Mm-hmm.
very goddess like. And yes, I receive that. But there are days when I want to be vulnerable. I want to be vulnerable. I want to be in my element where I want to be, open and able to share with the world. And then there are some days where I have to have that guard up. So again, we're not a monolith. Each and every one of us has something unique about us. So hone into that craft, hone into that creativity. And as
Mm-hmm.
my vision board would say, the word that's on my vision board, look out. Look out for new opportunities. Look out for new blessings. Look out for more goals, ambitions, anything that you have coming your way. 2025 is the year to complete your goals. And almost everything that I've put on my vision board is coming to fruition. I had to take a look at it to make sure. Yes, it says look out. And I do a mental checklist every single day, like, okay, I've done this, I've done this. What else? We're always wanting to write the next chapters of our life. What can we do to be our next best version of ourselves? What can we do to be empowered? You know, what do
I
I
see.
want to work on today? Make a list of all of those things, put it in a notebook, or you can do a vision board. Flipping through magazines for me is therapeutic because I can see the words right there standing out to me, telling me, okay, through advertisement, through music, through whatever, write it down. There's inspiration out there in the world in
I
some
agree.
sort of way, in some sort of aspect. Like I said, for me, I do affirmations. Um, one of the affirmations, they got it divided up. One of them is wellness, and then the other one is called glow up. Like you've glown up. You've really see the light of day. You're not, your skin is not just glowing and you're glowing all over, but you see a change in your life. You see a shift. You see that paradigm. So the glow up is one of mine, and that's the one that I've got that mantra from, which is my energy when I walk into a room is impeccable. And I want each and every one of you to know that when you walk into a room, your energy is impeccable. You could be going in for a audition if you're an actor. You could be going to get a certain part as, audition part,
Yep.
whatever. You could be going in for a job position as well too, and you're not sure if you're going to get it. You have to go in there with confidence. That's the thing, what sets you aside. And I remember sitting down having a conversation with Sandy Elise Casting in LA. And the question that she got the most was, what can I do to stand out at an audition? And she said this in quote. She said, bring your personality. Bring your personality. Make that character believable. So just
Mm-hmm.
like in life, you have to bring your personality to everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the guidelines and the rules if you're going for a job position, but bring your personality. Be your best version of yourself. I'm a happy, bubbly, go lucky person. I like to have fun. And then I have my emotional side. You know what I'm saying? But that is what makes us so dynamic and complicated in a way, is that we each have something that makes us dynamic. So it's many
Absolutely.
layers to us. It's like peeling an onion. You know how an onion has layers?
Mm-hmm.
We have layers. to each other. So
Hmm.
I want you guys to be mindful of that. But my
If I may,
goodness.
I love that you mentioned creativity. I penned that while you were speaking. Many people don't realize that we're innately created with the ability to create. Thus we're made in God's image. And when we create, that actually gives us fuel. And too many times when people are depressed or they're tired, it's because they're not filling in their cup enough. They're doing more output than input. But when we create, when we're in that God mode, when we're in our flow, that's when our cup is being poured into. And that's when we can have an overflow to where everyone wins because
Oh yeah.
we are all in that state. And I want more folks to do more and tapping into their creativity. Be like children. Too many times as we get older, we feel that we can't do things that we once thought of as fun. We can't color in a coloring book anymore. Like, why? Like, whatever you need to do, and that's again your unique skill, your unique ability. Remember, tap into, relearn, unlearn, whatever you have to do, but don't forget about your creativity. That is your fuel, and that is what's going to continue to keep people moving. And that's also what contributes to this world when people actually donate or contribute their art or their creations to this world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I
And
love that you do mantras too. That was one of the things that I added additionally to my memoir as well as to my keynote. Because I like being interactive. So it's like I'll have folks like say out loud a mantra because words are powerful.
oh yeah.
And so many times people are afraid to say it. But when you have a crowd of folks saying it at all at once, you can't help but to feel that resonance of that word landing where it needs to land. And then handwriting is such another powerful old but powerful way of communication and of tapping into oneself. Like literally write cursive if you can, but write your mantras out as well to yourself and then read them out loud and see how powerful that effect will have on you.
Oh yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you've aimed to be the mirror and the message, a mirror in your work. What does that mean to you to be a mirror as a man and as an artist?
I love that question. Because I've done my work, I feel that I'm able to feel, see, sense, observe every human being that I come in contact with. I've always
Oh
was
yeah.
told that I was an old soul, and through the years and through the travels, I've come to understand even more so what that means. So when I say to other folks that I'm a mirror, it's because I don't judge. It's because I allow myself to be myself. I love myself. I love my authenticity. I love my nuances that other folks may feel are dot dot dot. And because of that, I'm also able to love that within everyone else that I come in contact with. So when people feel comfortable, when people may stay at my space and they're like, oh my goodness, I get the best sleep at your space. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's because my energy is exactly what it needs to be. And when I'm on stage, I want folks also, what they're reading, once they start reading my books, listening to my content, I want them to be able to see themselves and be like, wow, I remember going through that. Or, wow, I didn't know that that was possible. Either or, we all are a way to live. And when folks need help, sometimes the only thing they need is that little beacon of light. And
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
that light can be reflected off of a mirror. Either way you want to look at it, we need to see ourselves. And then once we see ourselves, then we can do that inner work because we're aware of perhaps where we want to tweak or where we want to make the adjustments within ourselves. And it always starts with ourselves. So again, in doing that work, then I'm able to present myself to others as that mirror for them.
Yes, because we all have some sort of, how can I say it? We all have some sort of traits that we share with each other, even though we're different in our own ways. We bounce off of each other. We have way more in common than you would think we know.
Absolutely.
Like
Hmm.
yesterday, me and my guest Justin. Justin's birthday is in November, November 17th. Mine's is Halloween, October 31st. My mom's is October 7th. We both are from South Carolina. So that's how we discovered that connection yesterday in that
Mm.
interview. If you go back and you watch it, there were two guests that share a birthday the same day as my sister who passed, and that's June 29th.
Mm.
It wasn't exactly 1986, but it was a different year, but that same exact number, June 29th. So again, you might find out that you have more in common with the person just from sitting down and asking them, talking to them, finding out those things, and then you find out that you share a birthday the same day. Oh my God, we could be birthday twins. It's
Yeah.
those little things right there that we should be taking advantage of, that we should be embracing with one another, because again, more than ever, we have something in common, and that is sitting down. And how we're doing now, great dialogue comes from that. And speaking to great dialogue, you have a podcast, uh, Desire and Discipline. So tell us a little bit about your pod.
Yeah, so I'm trying to tie everything together. I did not see this vision when you and I spoke the first time. But as everything was developing, again, my God is amazing. It just everything started landing where it was supposed to land. And ironically, I was partnering with a solar company, and they were trying to expand their marketing, and they were like, "Hey, we want to start a podcast. We couldn't think of anyone better than you to do it." So in my mind, I just kept hearing podcast, 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 and I'm like, "Well, if I'm going to do it for other folks, I need to also do it for myself." And then once my manuscript was finished, once my keynote was finished, I'm like, "What other way can I connect with other folks?" And I knew, the podcast lane is I felt was oversaturated, but I also realized that my message was a little different. So I was like, why not again just
Yes.
have different avenues to where I can get my message out? And I'm also trying to be different. And what I mean by that is we only have one episode, and all my episodes launch on every Saturday at 12:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just recorded episode 2 yesterday while I was getting my hair retwisted with my amazing loctician. I had the vision. I was at the gym, and I was like, you know what? She and I always have amazing conversations. She's another artist, another amazing being. It's all about discipline. Like if people know, like to take care of your hair, to take care of yourself, like it takes discipline. People love
Yes.
the outcome at the end, but it takes discipline to not just have the look, but also to maintain it. So I was like, discipline and desire is my theme, liberation of love, romance. So I'm like, why not have my schedule or my episode right in the salon? So I got the ambiance in the background playing. People were coming in while we were talking. You'll see, it's gonna launch this Saturday. But I've always had that vision. I love people. So why not connect with people at their place so where they're the most comfortable? And as the mayor that I am, I'm just now reflecting these amazing beings that I have the honor to come in contact with. And it just so happens to be aligned with my message. So the stars are aligning, and I'm like, hey, let's do it. And I'm having fun in the intro.
And again, that outlet, being that vessel, as you stated, that mirror, being that mirror to people. And then when people are listening, they're taking it in like, wow, I can relate to this. I've been
Mm-hmm.
through this, or I know someone who's been through this. Podcasts are supposed to help. And shout outs to another one of our show friends here, Bo Emerson. He has a podcast called Watch What You Say. So
Hey,
make sure that you guys go and check out Desire and Discipline by Lawrence here. You
it's
need to
on
be checking out
Spotify.
these
Yeah.
outlets who are giving you encouragement along the way. Again, we need these lights in these times because we're in some dark times, but there are lights out there to give you laughter, lights out there to give you joy, to give you a sense of calmity, a calamity, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of calm, a sense of peace. Because I know a lot of people are just like, what do I do? What is going to be my next turn? You keep living and you create. Use your vision. Use your vision. Your vision is beautiful. And I said, all of us were born with a glass eye. We have something unique about us that we can look
Absolutely.
through, and we can use that lens to be a vessel to help somebody else. You'd be amazed at how many inboxes that I've gotten from people saying, thank you for talking about this subject on your show, for talking about this in the interview. And the audience will just start pouring in. It's like, I don't even ask them to do it. They just chime in and they just say, okay, I've been through this too, or I know through this. and they talk amongst themselves. I don't
Mm-hmm.
police them. I don't tell them, no, you can't talk to this person. No, I let them talk amongst themselves, because when you come to the dollhouse here, it is a safe space. Yes, I'm gonna dress you with of course, you look at clothes, you think style by Stevie clothes, da da da, whatever. But I'm dressing you with love. I'm dressing you with open arms. I'm dressing you with my soul. I'm pouring my soul out to you. And as you guys are coming on the journey here with me, you're listening to my guests, and my guests are resonating with you. I've said things, and you hear it from somebody else saying the same exact thing, and they will say, "Wow, I've never thought of it that way." So
Right.
it's great. Again, we have more in common than what separates us. And at a time right now where we're all divided, I think it's time for us to sit down and be able to listen to these podcasts and sit back and just, and as you said, in your atmosphere, whether you could be outside sitting in your garden,
Mm-hmm.
you could be outside. For me, I've been doing a lot of exercise mornings. So you guys have been seeing the
Hey,
weight loss. It's making the
hey,
progress is coming along.
keep it
Every
up.
morning, been getting up, and at 7:30 a.m. or 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30, 30 minutes of exercise every day.
I
And I've
love
been consistent with it. And I see a difference. Before, I'm like, workout, I don't want to work out. I just want to lay down and watch unsolved mysteries and crawl up in the bed. But now I see a difference. Like my mom was saying, it's something out there. It's something bright and beautiful out there. And besides, uh, I've seen people go outside in their yard and walk barefoot. It's called grounding.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people go out there and plant,
Mm-hmm.
get into gardening. I don't have a green thumb in me, but my mom, she does. She's literally been picking up on going outside in the yard and gardening. It's been so therapeutic
I love it.
watching her. I hate the bugs, but helping her is also like an outlet for me somewhat as well too. But she gets it. She knows what to do, what type of soil, how much water to put on a plant, everything. But for me, fashion has been my escape. That's been my outlet. So dressing, uh, writing, those are my outlets. You have to find your outlet. And these two podcasts, Watch What You Say and Discipline and Desire, will give you that escape. You need an escape. You need an outlet. And I think a lot of us need an escape from, my mother would tell me this: see and don't see. Yes, there's a lot of chaos out there. Stay focused on it, but also protect your mental health and peace. That is key. Protect your
Agreed.
peace because it is sacred, it is divine. If you don't protect your peace, you'll find yourself crashing. You'll find yourself crashing out, angry, mad at the world. Like, what do I do? Who do I turn to? And sometimes our anger can get the best of us. Even though we're grown-ups, our anger can still sometimes get the best of us. At a young age, if you're a teenager or if you're a young student out there, and you're thinking about, oh, this person did me wrong, this person did this to me, and I got to get him back. No,
Yeah.
because I believe in the law of reciprocity. So what you put out there will come back to you full
All the time.
circle, and
Yeah.
that boomerang effect, it comes right back to you.
Yeah.
So I tell people this all the time. You know, be careful how you treat a person, because it can come back to you. It can boomerang back to you times two and then some. So make sure that you are finding that outlet for your anger, an outlet for your sadness. Do not live in despair. Do not, because darkness doesn't last forever. That's just a temporary cloud. Like, we have thunderstorms and rainstorms. Yes, it'll rain throughout that entire week, but guess what happens after that? That sunshine pops out.
Yeah, it does.
That sunshine pops out. Go outside and explore. Like I said, walk barefoot, grounding, being one with nature is a beautiful thing. Find
Mm-hmm.
your element. For me, it's early morning walks, and it's a little nippy outside. But then when I see that sun rise over the horizon, and it just gets right in my eyes, I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it does something to me. It
Mm-hmm.
kisses my skin. It does something to me. It gives me a great feeling. It gives me a boost of energy. And I've already had the boost of energy because you're getting up.
Hey.
But find
And
that
if I
outlet.
may also add to that, I want to add two more to that list for folks. Enjoy solitude when it comes. Enjoy quiet. Enjoy not being distracted by, like your mom said, see, but don't allow too many things to distract you. Don't allow scrolling for hours. Like, Give yourself time to
Doom
actually
scrolling. That's what it's
breathe.
called. Doom scrolling.
Yeah. And so many times we have so much going on here and everything starts here. And what you think of, you get. What you focus on is where you head. So if our minds are only thinking gloom and doom, we're going to get gloom and doom. If our minds are in that whirlwind where we're just all over the place, and I was in a space like that recently, and I was telling one of your viewers now, Miss Charisse, the lovely Charisse, I didn't know if I was falling or if I was flying, but I had to actually get into my zen. I had to get into that breathing, and I have a thing that I do like with my keynotes. I encourage folks to breathe in 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then release for
Mm,
6. I do that a few times. I do that every morning, and I do it before I enter into rest. And it allows me to be where I need to be. And then once you're grounded, and you can be grounded in the air, you can be grounded on the ground, you can be grounded in the water. Like grounded is just meaning you found your center. And once you found your center, now you know exactly where and how you should move if you were to move at all. But enjoy the silence. Enjoy your mind not working. Because so many times we have so much going on in our head, we don't even sleep and we're not rested. And the second one that I want to mention is the power of rest. Like if we all know blue light, right? That blue light on our phones, if we're all just being absorbed with that blue light is still
oh yeah.
going on once we're sleeping. If we listen to a movie that had our senses stimulated, it's going to take our body time to slow down. If we're full on caffeination, on caffeine or full on sugar, and right before we go to sleep, our brains are not going to be able to slow down, and then folks wonder why when they
Gonna
wake up the
race.
next morning, why they're
Absolutely.
so tired and lethargic. And if your mind is tired, how can you truly now manifest or think of anything outside of what you feel and what you sense? And you're going to be very sensitive if you're not tired. How many times do we remember when kids are like, we're thinking that they're all over the place, we're like, breathe, calm down, breathe. We have to remember adults are just big kids. And so many times, if we find ourselves spiraling, the best thing we can do is pause and enjoy that pause. The older ancestors will always tell us slow and steady wins the race. And it truly is that. And going back to us healing and going back to the collective, we need to be slow in that process to truly learn ourselves, but also to learn each other so that when we're in that space, we can truly pick the pieces that we need to pick, discard what we need to discard, and keep moving forward. But yeah, those are my 2 cents to add to your amazing list of self love and self care. It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the new podcast dropped September 6th, Discipline and Desire. Make sure you guys please go and check it out. It is out. We need to have these more healing conversations. And I know a lot of us can take this in. A lot of us have been through a lot in our lives. And it is okay. Don't keep it bottled up inside. Find
Mm-hmm.
you an outlet. I have a diary. I like to write
Hey.
and I do vision
Mm-hmm.
boards. So put that creativity to use. And I just said this not too long ago. I said it yesterday and I said it in the interview with Nia Renee. Do not sit on your talents. If God is giving you an ability or if the universe is giving you an ability, do not just sit on your hands idly by. Get up and put your talent to use. So if you want to act, there's courses out here. There are so many courses.
Absolutely.
So many. There are so many coaches out here who will be willing to help you, who will be willing to coach you
Absolutely.
and work with you on what it takes to become an actor. If you want to be a host of a platform, of a talk show or a podcast like myself here, I'm willing to shadow, I'm willing to mentor, I'm willing to give advice and gems. And I'm pretty sure my brother K2 as well too, who's been in it a little bit longer than me because I started in 2016. He's been out before me. So there are people out here who can help you because K2's helped me. Conscious has helped me. Bubs has helped me. And so many others, so forth and so on, have helped me and shadowed and mentored and guided me to where I am right now. So it's okay. Again, light sees light. So be that light to the next person and the next person and the next person and help them out because you never know who could need your help, who could be there to need a listening ear or whatever it may be. Again, we
Hmm.
need each other more than ever.
Yeah,
So
we do. One can do much more by oneself, but one can do so much more with others. A team is
yes,
necessary. You know, you could build your own house, but
absolutely.
man, what if you had a team? You can get that house done even quicker, and other folks can give you advice or tips that you didn't think of. Like, yeah, we do need to be way more open with just all things in life. Like, if you want something different, you got to do things differently. And I think we have enough history of how we've been doing things to where people can, I don't want to say complain, but we can go down a list of all the things we don't like. So let's start building that list of the things that we do like, the things that we do want, the things that we do desire, and then understand that there's discipline that's required in order to get that. And we're that living testament. And that's where light comes from. Because there's a lot of darkness at night. But when those stars shine through, it just goes to show you how bright those stars are. And we're all bright stars, and it's our duty to shine as brightly as we can. And if people can't see, hey, we got Ray-Bans. We can help them.
Absolutely. Now, the year and shining bright. The year is just about out. We still got a few more months to go in this
we
year of
do, we do.
2025. And before you know it, 2026. What does 2026 look like for you? What are you putting into the universe for the new year?
I'm already booking keynotes for 2026. Once my book launches, I really feel in my heart of hearts that this is going to be transformative for many. I see book tours for next year. I see that connection with the keynotes in my book tours. I had an opportunity actually to go on stage again to perform. Also sing. Was used to be in bands back in the day. Once I touched that stage, I really realized how much I miss singing. So I have a family full of many talented artists, engineers, teachers. My daughters, I think I mentioned in the last interview, they're amazing
Yeah.
musicians. 2026, I finally see my family, like my immediate family, like siblings, first cousins, coming together and creating a collective of music, but in a way to where we're performing live. And even if we just do something to ourselves and create a project, I don't care. I just know it's time for us to come together. We've been talking about it for years, and 2026 is going to be the year that we actually come together, create a schedule, band practice rehearsals, create set lists, you name it. And I look forward to what that collaboration of artistry creates. It's going to be magical.
And what advice would you give to someone going into the new year of 2026? We know 2025 was a roller coaster for each and every one of us. Again, we weren't expecting a lot of things on our bingo card, you know, but this year just prepares us for what's to come in 2026. And I must say that the future does look brighter for all of us if you continue to apply yourself, if you continue to move forward and look forward. Don't
Yeah.
look back. And it's a quote from Rihanna that I always quote in every one of my interviews. And she says this: do not focus on the chaos, focus on getting to the finish line. So for each and every one of us, don't focus on the chaos, focus on getting to the finish line. Slow and steady wins that race. So I give you an example. My brother, I keep picking on K Tooks. K Tooks almost is at 1,000 interviews. I am halfway there. I am halfway there. Slow and
Hey.
steady wins the race because I took a lot of breaks. And sometimes you have to take a lot of breaks mentally. You can't just keep going like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it for my own timing. I did it for my own timing. And I think a lot of people need to learn something from that as well, too. Don't just keep going if listen to your body. Listen to your body. Sometimes we can become overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can become, like I said, that luggage. You're trying to carry all this heavy luggage. But I'm halfway there. And the work, the dedication, the consistency, I haven't given up. That's the mentality we have to have going into the new year of 2026. So, what I would say to people going into the new year would be stay focused, stay focused. And as I use that analogy that I put on my vision board, look out for brighter opportunities, look out for new blessings, look out for whatever you put out there in the universe. to come back your way. If you believed, if you've manifested, if you prayed to your believer, to the universe, it's going to come back to you
Gonna
full
come.
circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Full circle, 360 moment.
hmm And then you got to be ready
So
when
I
it
want
does.
you all to do that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said you got to be ready when it does. So many times people ask God for things, and when God gives it to them, they're like, oh, 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 oh. Like, you have to also be ready. Like, we were talking about that earlier, the intention. Be intentionally intentional. So it's like, not only ask for what you want, but when it comes, recognize, be grateful that it came, and then keep that train going, keep that momentum going. And you had asked the same question to me. I would say for those entering into 2026, to remember that yesterday doesn't matter
Mm, yes.
and tomorrow is not here. So many times we're so worried about what happened yesterday or a year ago or 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. Like, there's nothing we can do to change what happened yesterday. But if a person needs to write it out, if a person needs to get it out, if a person, whatever a person needs to do, learn what you need to do it, and then let it go, because we want new things, but we can't receive new things if we're holding on to old dot dot dot, old luggage, old whatever it may be. And then the anxiety typically comes when we're worried about things that haven't happened yet. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. The only thing that we have now is now. So now, in our center, in our peace, in our grounded state, envision the world that you actually want to live in. Envision the body that you want to inhabit it. If you don't think you're in the shape that you want to be in, great. Recognize that now, and then see yourself the way that you want to be. And then realize, all right, if I'm going to have those six pack abs, I may have to stop drinking soda. I may have to start exercising, and then learn your body. Learn how many days you need to exercise. Learn what type of exercise that you need to do. And I always encourage folks, have fun with your exercise so that it doesn't even feel like exercise. I love hiking for that very reason. I get such a workout hiking, but I'm in nature. I'm moving. I'm with God versus being on a treadmill. But every now and then a treadmill has to do what a treadmill does, and I'm good for that too. But don't focus on the past. Don't focus on the future. The only thing we all have is right now. So how are we using right now? So in 2026, ask yourself, if you're doing something like, why am I doing this? What do I want to do? And where and where and where? And just keep asking those questions. Ask God those questions. Ask whoever you need to ask those questions to. And then when the answers come, take note and then do the work. You have to do the work. It's not going to be done by itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we close, to add on to what Lawrence just said, today's final thought comes from Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer talks about change in this quote.
Mm.
He says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So change your outlook, change your perspective on things. Have an open mind. There's nothing wrong with being open minded. I just had a phone conversation with someone a few minutes ago. And I was talking to my mom about it as well too, saying how I wish the world would be colorblind, how I wish that people would look past certain things, and how people would have an open mind and get to know people instead of judging them off of their nationality, all of these things, all of their creed, whatever it may be. Take the time and sit down and have a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
And again, we all have that glass eye. That's what makes us so dynamic. And I want each and every one of you to remember that. You are incredible. You are unique. You are here. You have a purpose and you have intention. And I tell you all the time, be intentional about being intentional. And what that means is use your powers for the better good, to inspire, to impact, to help people. Because words can be like warm tea to the soul,
hmm
and they can either hurt someone or help someone. And I would rather my words be like warm tea for the soul, to give you comfort, to help you relax, to give you encouragement. You know, a lot of people say, I have food for thought. So again, be the change you want to see. And look at the things that you can change. That's what Wayne is basically saying in this quote. And I want you guys to remember that. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, make sure that y'all go and look for Lawrence's book, The Divorce, a Memoir on Love and Reflection. And make sure that you go and check out the podcast as well to Desire and Discipline, episode 2, which Lawrence said which will be dropping pretty soon. And Lawrence, any final gems? Because I am going to bring you back for my 20th season in the new year of 2026. You guys have been hearing me throw it out there. I will drop the date pretty soon. Just not
Hey,
right now because we still got a whole lot of months in this year to go through. But yes, we're going to be back with season 20. So amazing guests. We've already got it lined up. I'm already working on fashions, what I want the set to look like, what I want everything. So you guys will see that pretty soon. So y'all just stay tuned. But any
hey.
gems or encouragement that you would give people in these times? Because I know a lot of people are just feeling a sense of emptiness. You have some that are feeling a sense of emptiness, and then you have some that have a sense of optimism.
I would say enjoy doing your work. Enjoy spending time with yourself. Enjoy learning yourself. Enjoy loving yourself. Enjoy celebrating yourself. Enjoy learning new things for yourself. And then in that joy, spread it to your network and enjoy doing those things with your network. Enjoy watching other people having fun with themselves or learning themselves. Enjoy encouraging other folks. Enjoy supporting other folks. Enjoy listening to other folks. Like, just enjoy. Enjoy is where I feel like we all need to be more in. Because when the clouds come, when the rain comes, it's going to come. But we can still dance in the rain. We can do a lot of things in the rain, but it's all about that mindset. But if we don't allow ourselves to be in that state, and that's a us job, a me job, a you job, like if we don't allow ourselves to be in that state, we can't wait for others to do it for us. But the more and more we're in that flow, the more and more others will be in that flow. And it will be easier for us just to encourage folks just to tap in. It's like, you have that ability just as much as I do. You remember what it was like to have fun. You remember what it was like to be a kid. You remember what it was like to just play. Let's play and have fun playing and celebrate the play. Celebrate the time that you get because all we have again is now. And what would you rather? Would you rather use that time to complain or would you rather
Mm,
use that time to actually embrace the opportunity that we have to simply be here? As I'm embracing this opportunity just to be able to chat with you, like, this is awesome. And I feel like more and more people need to have any type of connection that they need, but they have to be able to decide for themselves what that looks like and how that will be. Have fun being you.
absolutely. And again, make sure you guys go and check out Lawrence's podcast, Desire and Discipline. Make sure that you go and check out the book as well too, The Divorce,
It's gonna be a
Memoirs
good
of
one.
Love. Make sure y'all go and check it out. Make sure that you're following. A very special shout out to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming in and having these healing conversations. It's not easy for all of us. It's not easy, but listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. That's one thing I would also include as well too. And Lawrence, let everyone know where they can follow you at, because again, I'm going to bring you back for the
Please,
20th
please
season.
do.
I had such a great time.
Yeah, you can catch me on my website, www.lawsturdivantjr.com. And all my social media handles are the same, Law Sturdivant JR. You'll find me any way that I can be. And if I'm not there, let me know, and I'll make sure I'll make an account there soon. But yeah, and I'm always willing to talk to anyone about anything. I have consultations. You can schedule it on my website. If for folks that are interested into acting, I have a lot of experience, and I would love to share what I've learned. So hit me up. And I think that's just how we have to give back. I can't keep my gems that I've received because folks shared it with me, and it is my right to share it with others.
Absolutely. And Lawrence's Loctician Fashion Dolls, in case you missed it, she
Hey.
is doing a fantasy hair show.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you guys go and check out my page, Bring the Drama, the Fantasy Hair Show casting call. And this is in Hartford, Connecticut. So men and women of all ages. If you are interested, I posted it on my page. Make sure that you go and check it out. And make sure y'all go and check out Blessed Hands here on the gram underscore 3580. Make sure you go and check her out. And the
What's
contact
up,
info is
Lorraine?
posted on the flyer as well. So make sure y'all go and check that out. If you know anyone that's interested, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And I love you all, Fashion Dolls. Joining me next week, we have Dre Will. But in the meantime, I need you guys to catch up on all of the past episodes from this week. From the one that I did with Justin. Justin is a fool. um, to the one that I had with the beautiful Nia Renee. Make sure that you guys go and catch up on all of your episodes from this week. And also head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. I've been seeing a lot of you going to my community post, a lot of information there. Make sure that you guys like the like page on Facebook. I love you all, and I will see you all next week with Dre Will. Take care, everyone, and y'all have a safe and blessed weekend. Look forward to the lineup dropping tomorrow. So I will see you
Hey.
next time.